Hi, we have a quick and simple signature that we're going to make here. I'm messing everything up, so hold on here while I kind of get this organized. Here's my base page. I'm using one of the green sheets, and this is out of the 22 pack, and it does measure at your 9 1/4 across, and it measures at 8 5/8 in the height of the page. I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to do something simple with this. I've taken one of the cutout cards with the cake. Now you can certainly use whichever one you want. And I'm creating an open envelope, and I'm going to put a magnet here so that this will stay closed, but this will sit here. And I run some thin tape, 1/8 of an inch tape here and here, so that underneath here there's a tuck where you can slide some things in. And you've still got some spots here for some photos. And then when you open this up, you're going to have a couple of pages here where you can put additional photographs. So let's get, first things first, I want to get the magnets installed. And I'm just using the tiny basic gray magnets. I'm putting one there. I'm just putting them on the inside of this so that this thing will open and stay closed. And then I cut from my scraps this piece. And because this is such a small element, I am not going to worry about taping these small pieces. This can be totally redone if I had to. So I'm not going to stress over being scared about using glue. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is what I'm going to put on this side, and then the scrap pieces on this side. Now I've cut this particular scrap piece all the way, top to bottom, because when I cut to trim like this, then there's that white edge there that I don't particularly care for. So this one I'm cutting the full length of this pocket, this piece right here. And like I said, this can be totally reconstructed. If I had to. All right. Oh, God, here I am moving right along. This piece measures 7.5 inches in length by 5.5 inches in the height. And then I came in and I scored it in the middle, which was approximately 3 3/4, or just slight up thereof. It's not a difficult piece to get measurements off of if I forget to tell you, but it still would be nice if I would, huh? Okay, so I removed the tape, so I got my pocket, and I'm just going to put this down here in this corner, up about 1/2 inch and in about 1/2 inch on both sides. Now it's down, and I'll use this to show you that you come in behind here and you've got a little pocket. And then I'm going to glue this to the front. And then I'm going to run a strip of tape and I have these two pieces here. So I'm going to, oh, wait a minute. Wait. I am going to put these on here. I'm trying to decide which is going to be the easiest direction to take this. And then I'm going to come underneath here and I'm just going to put some glue to keep that together. And then we'll tuck these in and get them glued into place. I think what I'm going to need to do for a few moments, if this will reach, nope. If I can get that to snag on that tape. This is one of the reasons why I like to try to do some of this ahead of schedule so that you're not watching me put clamps on things. This is not wanting to stay together. Okay, let's try it that way. Then I just totally messed up this one here. Okay. So you can still open and do that. And then you've got your pocket, and I'm just going to let that sit in glue while I let the glue set while I put everything else together. Okay. So on the front of this, I'm using the Graphic 45's pocket tag / envelope. And again, you can get this on Scrap and Create's website. And I am using this beautiful piece of paper right here. It's so soft, it's so pretty. And my intent is that when I place this on here, and then we put this pocket down here, that you have a place to put those small little items, maybe some photos, but you still got a nice spot for a decent sized photo right here. And then I'm using, where was I going to put that at? But I'm using on the front of this pocket, because they're paper clipped together, I fussy cut out, there's this flower right here, because this was the piece of paper I used. Well, there's a matching floral, and I've cut it out, and I'm just kind of placing it over the same image and then curling up the leaves a little bit. And then I'm putting in here the word dream. All right, do you have it? And then on the top of the page, on both sides, I'm putting one of the blueberry ephemera up here. you're still going to have a nice spot to put a photo. You do not have to put this element on here if you don't wish to, but it's still going to leave you a nice decent size, because this is 5 3/4 of an inch wide, and even at the base of the steps it's 3 inches. So you've got a nice spot here. I just like to put the bird on there because it helps to take up some of that space, if you will. But again, you don't have to. So let's get to this piece here. So this measures at 6 5/8 across, 8 5/8 in the height, and you're going to come in here at a 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch and score. And I failed to put my tape on ahead of schedule, so we'll just have to do it now. I just think it's wasted video time, you watching me tape things. Now I'll have to probably mess with these a little bit later, but I've got to take this off so I can turn these over. Okay, again, I want that hinge on the top, so I'm coming right up to that 1/2 inch score line. And then I'll push back and reinforce that. So that goes on the inside. So we'll come back and we'll do this here in a minute, because I need to get the other side on so we can get this magnet set into place. So this one measures at 7 inches across, so 7 inches by 8 5/8 in the height, and you're coming in here at a 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch on your score lines. And then the same thing, bring the base page up to the 1/2 inch score line. Now I do want this left over right, and because this creates a raised element, I think I'm going to put 2 magnets in here on this end. That because I've noticed that I'm creating a bit of bulk. So I'm going to, so that they close better, I'm going to do 2 magnets. So I'm going to get these apart. There and there. And then I'm going to use a piece of paper. take the backing off this tape, and then I am going to come over here and commit, because there's going to be more bulk when I finish this here. All right, so these are down. There's not much holding them in place, so I am going to run a couple of strips of tape over them. All right, so let's go ahead and let's play on the inside. So you have a piece of paper that has this image. So I've cut this. This is at the top of this 12 by 12, and this is at the bottom right of the 12 by 12. I want this piece, so I trimmed it to fit so that we didn't lose this. And then over here on this side is going to be the arch. This is going to be the only place that there will not be a spot for a photo unless you've got a photo of the bride and groom that you want to trim out and put down here, because I'm using the ephemera piece for that. And then you have this card that says together. I've cut it, I've scored it. We've got 2 photo spots here. I'm going to use a small magnet on the underside. And unfortunately on the top side it will be seen, but there's not much I can do about that. I do want this to close. This is going to go over here. And then you still have a spot for a photo down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and get this piece ready. Caught myself. Okay, tape. This, I do want to use some tape on. I've got 2 big magnets there that I don't want to have to move around and rip this piece apart. I am counting my pages as it is. Oh, what did I do that for? And what did I do that for? Goodness sakes, I'm starting to scare myself. Goodness sakes. Okay, and then I am just going to glue this on. Right up here. And then this will open up, and yes, you do have the magnet there, but you can still get a photo. You might just choose to use this side for the hand journaling and the photo right there. All right, let's go to this side. So this one I can glue. mindful of the hinge score line. And then let's see if I can get this apart. Okay, so on the inside, this is what we have, and we do have our pocket right here. And I can grab, so there's our pocket. And then we have lots of space here for journaling. You can actually commit a photo right here. All right, now let's go ahead and let's play with the outside. All right, so this is the piece that I've used for the outside of it. So you'll put one on this side and one on this side. In the cutouts, there is this card that I just think is so sweet. So I have chosen to make it a very big pocket. And with the width of this page, it almost fits in there perfect, like it was made for it. And then I'm going to put this across here. But then I've got these jewels, and I'm going to put them across here. Let's go ahead and let's play with this side. Get the tape out. I'm trying to get my top and bottom seams to match. There we go. And I just put it on crooked, gosh darn. Wow, I am just a pickle today. Okay, so this piece here measures 6 inches across, and then it measures at 4 1/8 in the height. And I've ran tape around 3 of the sides that it will go down here across the bottom. And I just saw some tape overhang, so I'm going to dress this right now. Okay. And it just fits this almost perfectly. And I will glue this down, just leaving a little bit of blue trim all the way around. Now I'm going to run this first because I will need to trim this to fit here. This is my predominant piece. This is what I want to focus on. So I'm going to take my tape I'm going to run it up. Then I want to back that off just a hair. Okay. Now I will take the tape and I will go across here. And this is my cleanest end, so I'm going to put it down on the inside and I will trim the outside. Get some glue in there. I already did that down there. Okay. So now we have a nice pocket there, and now we're going to work on the front here. It's going to be easier for me to burnish this if I open this, because then I'm not burnishing against all of that. Okay. Let's see, am I going to be safe? How big is this? I'll go ahead and put this on first, and then I can put this on and run it up. In fact, let me play with something here. So if this is, how far can I take that over there? So I can actually bring this with my lace, with what I'm putting together here. I'm going to bring my envelope over here to this edge so that I've got room to run this, because I don't want this laying over the opening here. Now, how I got the pieces, first off, I did use the Graphic 45 pocket and sentiments die that I got from Scrap and Creates. And I ran Learning from Experience, thin tape on this edge so you don't have it hanging there. And then I just simply cut, I put that die on the die machine and I just simply cut just enough off the top so that I can put this in there. So I'm going to kind of move those things up out of the way. And I will glue this in place. And once again, I've taken some tailings and I've put them here on the back. And then I'll close this up. And then on the back side, because I'd like for this to be a pocket as well, on from two aspects, inside this and then from the back side of it. Okay, so I will take this off the back and I'm going to bring it all the way here to the edge. Now, depending upon what lace you're using, you might want to center this. Now again, I only use the bottom half of the die to cut this piece to fit here. It seems kind of strange to run only a portion of the die through the machine, but it works for getting what I want. I don't want a whole piece wasted on this, because this is all I'm after. So I can use little tiny scraps for that. And then I can use other scraps for the bottom half. And I don't cover the backs because it's just a waste of pattern paper. And now here is that floral that I cut out, and I'm just going to put a big blob of it right there in the center, and then I'm going to match these up with their corresponding partners, and they'll act as kind of a shadow. And then we're going to put in the word dream, and we're just going to tuck that right there. And then Mr. Bluebird, if I get lucky enough that I can peel this off. Thought I had it. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And then I'm going to come up and put him right up there. And I just saw an element that I need to put my little birdie here. See if I get lucky again. I got it. I so amaze myself. And again, you've got a spot here for a photo. You have your pocket, and I just realized I forgot to put something here. Now there's a couple of elements. I cut them both out. There's Just Married, and then there's Mr. and Mrs. So you can put Mr. and Mrs. up here. It would fit just fine. You can put just married here. You can put just married down here in this corner. It's going to be whatever accent you like to see. I'm using this small piece to create the title on the page. Okay. Now, put on the last final touch on this. Clean up some of this. Okay, so we have a pocket here, and we have a pocket here. There we go. And then you have, when you open this up, two of those magnets are quite strong. You've got a pocket here. You have a place here that you can put a photo, and by this illustration, it can be a fairly decent sized photo. And then you can journal here and you can put a photo there. When you open this up, this is the only section in this signature that there's no place for photo unless you have a beautiful photo of the bride and groom that you want to trim down. And don't be afraid to trim. Their silhouettes, everything that's behind the photo, unless you're absolutely enamored with it, they're the focal points. So don't hesitate or be afraid to cut their photo and place it in here. Or just go ahead and use the ephemera. And then we've got ourselves a pocket, and you open this up and you've got a spot for a photo there and there. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's turn it over. Let's get our big tape out. Okay, putting 3 base strips. I'm going to cap off my glue here real quick. Okay, let's get the album. And then this one's going to come in here like so. All right, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to take this one off. Turn it over. I'm coming right to the end of the page, and I want to be about 1/16 or so off the top and the bottom so that it lays straight. Gotta give a good press because I'm going to be scoring the whole thing here in a little bit. All right, now we'll take the rest of the paper off. Push back on that hinge so that it sits up straight. There we go. Okay, let's get to burnishing here. Okay, we're done. All right, we'll see you on the next signature. Until then, bye-bye.